Trying not to sing along. Things you should know this week. This is your weekly reminder to check the back of your bulletin. We have this week's schedule of exciting and wonderful things on it. And to please silence all electronics as we get ready to enter into sacred space. A reminder that this service and every service is live streamed. I have a quick note here. Mahjong this week is on Tuesday for the last time. Then it will switch to the summer schedule next week. So this week, Tuesday. Next week, it will start being on Wednesday for the summer. Next week's special offering will benefit Good Samaritan Pharmacy and Health Services in Nokomis. Good Samaritan provides prescription and over-the-counter medications, a walk-in clinic, and diagnostic tests free of charge to uninsured, financially needy members of the community. Believe it or not, more than 20% of our members have joined UCOV within the last 2 years. Yeah, isn't that awesome? If you're in that group, we're so glad you are here, and we want to know how we're doing and how you're doing. So over the next few weeks, watch for an email inviting you to participate in one of several focus groups. These will help us better understand how to meet your spiritual and community needs and how to most effectively communicate information about our programs and our operations. So keep your eyes out for those emails. And then this Wednesday, Honor has a great program, Ay Mi Madre, from the Magdalena to the Mainstream, a diaspora journey of faith, family, and sacred mothers. There will be a talk and a discussion, and it looks like it's going to be truly amazing. So consider coming to, I believe it's 4 o'clock on Wednesday here in the sanctuary. And I think, Jean, it's birthday week.
Thank you. Yes, it is. Good morning, everybody. Gee, it's so great to see the smiles. It is birthday week. It feels like it was just the other week. What did I say? Month. Yeah, okay. That's right. It is on month. Thanks for catching me. It looks like it feels like it was really close that we just had the last one, but that's because we had it on Easter and we had to do it the next week. There you go. We have birthdays for Vicki and David. We have Richard. Now you know who you are, and some of you are away, so we're glad to have you know that we bless you from here as well. Richard, Bill, Sue, Peggy, Linda, Mark, Janet, Margot, Corinne, and another Peggy. So we're so glad that we can wish you all a happy birthday. Come to our reception table afterward. First ones there get cake. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you.
What do I sound this with? How's this? Could you hear that? Okay. Okay. All right. A little comic relief before we get to the serious stuff. This is from A Moment of Rest in Our Journeys by Linda Hart. We light our chalice with this invitation, no matter where you are going on your journey. No matter if your choice is to go or if you left by far away edict no matter if you carry a burden or the deepest of joys. No matter how weary and thirsty you may be, pause here. Take a quiet breath. Rest in peacefulness. Good morning, and welcome to UCOV, the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Venice. We are so glad that you came here this morning. Whether you arrived rested and ready, or whether you arrived a little rumpled, a little rushed, and still wondering where you left your glasses. Today we are talking about Sabbath. Not Sabbath as a day when you are supposed to sit very still and look holy while secretly making a grocery list in your head. We're talking about Sabbath as a gift. A day or even a portion of a day set aside to remember something this world works very hard to make us forget. We are not machines. We are not machines. We are not only valuable when we are producing, helping, fixing, earning, cleaning, organizing, planning, answering emails, returning calls, or being useful to someone else. We are worthy of rest because we are alive. This is a surprisingly radical thing to say. So much of our culture tells us that rest is something we have to earn, that we can pause only after the list is finished and every problem is solved. And since the list is never finished, the house is never permanently clean, and the world remains stubbornly full of problems, we keep postponing our own restoration. But Sabbath says, stop anyway. Stop because you are human. Stop because the soul needs room. Stop because bodies are holy. Stop because the light matters. Stop because even love becomes thin when we never let ourselves be replenished. Sabbath is not just a day off. A day off is a work day with different chores. Sabbath is deeper than that. Sabbath is a practice of remembering that the world is not held together by our exhaustion. We are allowed to be unproductive and still be beloved. So may this hour be a small Sabbath for us. May it remind us that we do not have to justify our need for rest. You are welcome here in your energy, and you are welcome here in your weariness. You are welcome here with your full calendar, with your aching heart, your busy mind, your grateful spirit, and your tired feet. Come, let us rest in community. Come, let us remember our worth. Please.
Good morning, beloved friends. It is so good to see your faces here this morning. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here physically. Now I ask that you arrive in the space, not physically, though that matters. We've all gotten here. We've walked in, we've talked to people and sat down and turned off our phones or forgotten to turn off our phone. We've got our bulletins. We've done all the things. But now I want you to arrive in a different way. I want you to arrive from the week that you just lived through. From the errands and the appointments and running to the doctor and stopping by the grocery store. From phone calls and emails you had to answer real quick. From all the lists that multiply when you're not looking. I want you to arrive from the worries that you carry. The private ones, the family ones, the great big ones that have to do with our world and our country. I ask you to arrive from the quiet belief that so many of us have absorbed somewhere along the way that our worth is only measured by what we accomplish. Because this morning we're going to gather around a different truth, a Sabbath truth, a holy truth. You are worthy because you are breathing. Not because of some nebulous it that you got done. Not because you earned it. Not because you've been good enough or productive enough. You're worthy of rest because you are alive. Because you're fragile and miraculous and breathing and becoming and made of stardust and stories and sore knees and stubborn hope. As Steve said, Sabbath is not just taking a day off. We've all taken days off for years and years. Right. We all know that a day off is the day you do the laundry and clean the garage and shuffle around the kids or the grandkids, answer 3 more emails, and sometimes you end up even more tired than when you started and guilty because you had 6 more things on that list to do on your day off. Sabbath is different, and it's a spiritual practice. It's the practice of saying to the world and ourselves, I am not a machine. I don't put out, and goodness comes in. That's not how that works. My neighbor's not a machine. The earth isn't a machine. Life is not meant to be wrung dry like a sponge in the name of efficiency and earning it. Sabbath says to us, you have to pause long enough to remember what is really sacred. A nap taken without an apology for being tired. A meal shared slowly with friends or family, or eaten by yourself with appreciation for every bite. A walk with no destination. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're just being in the moment. So let this hour be a doorway into the Sabbath, and let it loosen the tight places in us. Let it quiet the voice that says, do more, do more, do more. Rest is not laziness. Rest is reverence and resistance. Rest is how we return to ourselves and one another and to the holy web of life that holds us all. Come, come, tired and tender people, busy and beloved people. Come, all who've forgotten how to stop. Because this morning we practice remembering that we are alive and we are enough and we are welcome here. So come, let us worship here together. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life. We're going to do it through 2 times. Giving life the shape of justice, roots hold me close, wings set me free, Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. This is the time in our service when we do our offering, and we always do it with a little bit of humor to make giving hurt a little less. A brave UU church had decided to make some money by fixing up their grounds, and boy, they did it well. They planted apple and pear trees, added picnic benches and a fire pit. They built a sand volleyball court. They added shuffleball courts and a picnic pavilion and even a delightful swimming pond with a nicely raked beach and gorgeous flowers all around. And at the top of the walkway heading to the pond, they put a big wooden box with a slot, and on the top of it, it said, "Swim and picnic all day, $5 only." One day, the elderly UU minister got a large bucket and headed down to the pond to pick some apples and some pears, and on the way, he looked into the donation box, and sadly, it was totally empty. He headed down and around the bend for the pond and the trees, but he was shocked to hear young female voices coming from the water. When he got to the pond, he called out, not wanting to surprise them, and a large group of lovely young ladies who were skinny dipping all rushed to the deep end. The minister thought for a moment and then smiled a little. He said, "Now, ladies, have no fear. I am not here to see you unclothed or to call the police." He paused and held up his bucket. He said, "I am only here to feed the alligators." It's always easier to pay up front. The morning offering will now be given and gratefully received. thank you so much, not just for these gifts, but for absolutely everything that you do for the life and the work of this community. You are so appreciated. It's as a community of human hands and human hearts that we come together here to struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. So if you have a sorrow or a joy to share, please raise a hand, and Tom or Jean B. will bring you a microphone. We ask please keep it to about a minute or less.
Hello, my name is Sue Crawford, and I have a joy to share. Last year, my grandson, as a high school sophomore, won the Massachusetts State Skills USA competition in automotive service technology. He went on to the nationals, and I think he placed around 18, but he was just a sophomore then. This year, he's a junior, and on Friday, he won it again. Won the state competition in automotive service technology in Massachusetts again, and he will be going off to the nationals beginning of June, and he hopes to place in the top 10 this year. And heaven knows what he'll do when he's a senior, but I'll keep you posted.
That's great. And Sue, you're one of our May babies. Happy birthday, May baby.
Hi, I'm Pat Wellington. Tom and I lost a good friend this week named Larry. And he was one of Tom's best friends. And I just want to say we hope his wife can find some peace as she deals with this.
Good morning. I'm Brad Harden, and my joy is coming here every Sunday and getting the shot in the arm that I get being with all the good friends that I have here. And on Friday, your very able and hardworking social justice chair, Anna, and I talked about what we might do about some of the things that Reverend Amory commented on this morning that we're all concerned about. And there is something that we can do, and I sent you about a month ago, I guess, a little introduction to it. I've been working on something else and finally have it ready to send out to you in an email and to try to get you to listen, see it, and read about it. It has to do with what is similar between inventing a new mousetrap and coming up with some way to influence people that have been so misled. So please read the email the next day or so, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. We're Howard and Hart McQueen. This is our second time here. And we've had an offer on a mobile home in Venice, Isles accepted. We close the end of this month, so we're going to go back up and take care of business, and we'll be back to be with you on a more regular basis. Thank you.
I have one. I don't know about you, but I love the music in our church, in our gathering, in our congregation. And of course, starting with Lisa. But I also want to recognize our choir today because I believe this is your last one of the season. So whether you do this or this or this, let's give them a nice round of applause and thank you for all the work that you've done through the season. The directors, Marcia Smith, Jan Simon, and Nancy, whose last name, Zarowin, good, have helped us through that too. Thank you very much for all the beautiful music.
Anybody else? Okay, good. May the love of this community hold all who need love and concern, and may the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May those who are grieving be comforted, and those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed, and may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant.
Stillness, the Peace Within by Eric Schiffman. You imagine a spinning top. Stillness is like a perfectly centered top, spinning so fast it appears motionless. It appears this way not because it isn't moving, but because it's spinning at full speed. Stillness is not the absence or negation of energy, life, or movement. Stillness is dynamic. It is unconflicted movement, life in harmony itself, skill in action. It can be experienced whenever there is total, uninhibited, unconflicted participation in the moment that you are in. When you are wholeheartedly present with whatever you are doing. For most of us, however, most of the time our lives do not resemble a perfectly centered top spinning so fast it appears motionless. No, our lives are more like a top in a somewhat wild, erratic, and chaotic spin. We know we're alive because at least we're still spinning, but we are not quite perfectly centered, and we are not spinning anywhere near full speed. We don't have as much energy as we would like. We are not experiencing as much aliveness as we might, nor are we experiencing the peace of stillness or the joy of being. Stillness, therefore, is a higher energy. Is a higher energy state than what we are used to. It's because we are rarely wholeheartedly or unconflicted about anything. When you are not wholehearted, when you'd rather be someplace other than where you are, parts of you shut down and begin not to participate. Your energy circulation becomes constricted, and the creative life force is unable to flow through you unimpeded. Your energy flow, the amount of life force flowing through you, begins to diminish. The source of the energy does not diminish, but the amount that flows through you does. This leads to ill health, low energy, lower vitality, lack of enthusiasm, depression, frustration, unhappiness, and suffering. And none of this feels good. When you are wholehearted about something, however, when you are where you want to be and participating fully in the moment you are in, sometimes enthusiastic, sometimes mellow, you will experience a new sense of aliveness. You will experience a surge of energy, renewed vigor. This is not because there is actually an increase in energy, but because you are not constricting it quite so much. There is now a better energy flow. There is less conflict, less friction, less not wanting to be where you are, and therefore for you, there will be the experience of more energy. This occurs whenever you are not attempting to spin clockwise and counterclockwise simultaneously. Spinning in opposite directions happens when you act on opposing desires. When you are conflicted about what you are doing, not wholehearted, granted, this is most of the time. Stillness happens when you relax inside and are in harmony with yourself. This is the point. When you experience yourself in stillness, that is, when you give your undivided attention to experiencing the truth about you, you will experience the conflict-free, calm, dynamic peace of perfectly centered, abundant life energy. This exquisite peace deep within you is actually the experience of God, or the harmony of oneness felt within you as you. It's how God is experiencing himself, herself, now and always. It is the phenomenological feeling, tone of being or existence, and with it, the truest thing about who you are. When you experience the peace within you, you will spontaneously undergo a fundamental transformation in the way you think about yourself and how you see the world. Nothing will seem quite the same ever again. Please rise in body or spirit.
Back up for the meditation.
Wait, oh, I'm sorry. Where? Oh, up here. Meditation. From Why Sabbath is Way More Powerful Than a Day Off by Newsbreak Church. Sabbath is a reminder that our value comes from who we are and not in what we do. It restores our humanity by reminding us that our personhood is not our production, provides our worth here in a single rhythmic day where we are reminded that we do not need to seek out affirmation from our performance review. With these words in mind, please join me in a moment of silent thought, meditation, or prayer. Now, please rise in body or spirit. No? No? No?
Lisa, take it away.
Yeah. Okay. Now, for the third time, please rise in body or spirit and join in singing number 128, For All That Is Our Life, verses 1, 2, and 4.
As someone who has recently put her sandwich in the cupboard and the mayonnaise in the microwave, I really do getting how things are ordered and goofy some days. There's a story that a lot of you are probably familiar with from the book of Genesis. And it's recognized in Judaism, Christianity, Islam. God creates everything in 6 days. And then on the 7th day, this immortal being says, I've had enough, I'm going to take a rest. The first time I read that, I thought, you're kidding, right? Immortal, omnipotent, all-knowing, made the stars. What does God do on his off day? Now, I don't know how you understand that story if you've heard it. Some of us hear it as sacred history and some as poetry or myth. It's a story in the old and powerful sense that tells us something true, whether or not it is factual. However we hear it, it's pretty extraordinary. God rested. The power between the stars, the power that moved the mountains, the breath that spoke life into being. It brings up an important theological question. If we're being told that something that massive, the meta, needed to take a break, what about us? And who exactly do we think we are when we say, oh no, I can't take a break. I have to keep going. If the very story of creation includes rest as part of a pattern of life, why do we think we get to skip that part? Somewhere along the way, in American culture especially, we've gotten the idea that rest is optional. Maybe it's even a little suspicious. We admire people who work hard, push through, stay late, answer every email in 4.5 minutes. Somebody who shows up for everyone, volunteers for everything, goes home and keeps the house running. I can bring home the bacon, cook it up in a pan. You remember that one? I can do it all. How many folks are the ones that remember all the birthdays and make all the appointments and buy all the presents for the mothers and fathers and children? Who bring the casseroles to the sick and chair the committees and still says, oh, it's nothing, of course I can do one more thing. We admire it, but sometimes we admire it the same way we admire a bridge right before it collapses. We look at strain and call it virtue. We look at exhaustion and call it dedication, and we call burnout strength. And then we wonder why we're tired. So let's talk about why you need a break, and you do need a break. Not because you're weak or lazy, not because some of us are getting older. Though I, and I'm sure several of you, have reached the point where sleeping wrong can cause a minor medical event. We need a break because we're alive and breathing. Living things require rhythms. The ocean has tide, the earth has seasons, the day has morning and evening, the heart beats and rests, beats and rests. No living thing is meant to only inhale. No living thing is meant to only produce. Even the earth, if we let it, has times of production and lying fallow. But human beings, in our infinite lack of wisdom, have looked at the sacred rhythms of creation and said, interesting, but have you considered a 24-hour news cycle? Grocery delivery notifications at 10:37 p.m.? We've created a world where stopping feels almost unnatural. We carry phones in our pocket to make sure we're reachable at all times by everyone, including online companies that want to remind us that we left something in a shopping cart. We're never fully away. And because we're never fully away, many of us are never fully present. We're always moving on to the next thing, or trying to remember the thing we forgot, often while also scrolling on our phone and sort of half watching that program. And Sabbath is the answer to that. Now, for a lot of us, when we hear the word Sabbath, we think of rules. Depending on your background, Sabbath may bring up religious day clothing, maybe stores being closed, maybe no dancing, no cooking, no use of electricity, no driving, no fun, a general sense that some God somewhere was kind of peeking around the corner to see if you were enjoying yourself too much. Others may think of Shabbat beginning at sundown on Friday and ending in sundown on Saturday, marked by candle and prayer and ritual, shared meals, family, worship, and yes, rest. For some, it's the Lord's Day. For some, it's an old-fashioned idea from a world that didn't have televised sports or Costco runs. It's outdated for some. But Sabbath isn't about rules. It's not about somebody checking up on you to make sure you're holy enough. It's about liberation. In the Ten Commandments of Christianity and Judaism, there are two different explanations given for keeping Sabbath. In the book of Exodus, God rested. And so creation itself is made with rest woven in it. In Deuteronomy, Sabbath is rooted in freedom. The people are told to remember you were once slaves in Egypt, and therefore keep the Sabbath. Rest because you're not a slave. And not just you, everybody in your house, every visitor, every slave, rest. Sabbath says you are not slaves anymore. You don't belong to Pharaoh. In modern terms, You don't belong to that endless wheel of production. You belong to yourself. You are free people, so act like it. And make sure everyone else gets that message too. It's not just a private self-care practice. It's communal and spiritual practice. It doesn't just ask, have I gotten a chance to rest, but have I made it possible for everyone else to rest also? Because let's face it, not everybody gets to rest. For some people, rest requires help. For some, it requires social justice. The folks working 3 jobs, it's much harder to keep this spiritual practice. But when we talk about Sabbath, we're not talking about just one more thing to feel guilty about. Please do not leave thinking, great, I have fouled up one more thing. Now I am failing at relaxing. That's not it. Sabbath isn't a test. It's liberation. It's freedom. It's a gift. It's a weekly reminder that you are not God, and boy, is that good news for you. The world won't stop turning if you say, I can't do one more load of laundry today. The world won't quit if you say, nah, just nah. I'm not doing it today. The congregation will not collapse if you say, I need somebody else to help make the coffee this week. The ministry will not collapse if you say, I'm off this Sunday. Let me introduce you to the words of someone wonderful. Who knows? Take a week off. Your family may discover the dishwasher. Miracles happen. You know, Sabbath is the art of stepping back from the illusion that everything depends on us and the world will fall in right in that minute if we don't do all the things. And that's hard. You know, they say if you want to get something done well, give it to a busy person because they'll just keep right on rolling and get it done. Competent people have the problem that people keep letting us do things. And I know you all. You're all intelligent and wonderful and competent. And you do lots and lots and lots of things. And the world will happily hand you more things to do. There will always be one bit more need than you can meet, always. And because of this, it can feel almost immoral to say, I'm taking a step back today. I need a rest. How can I rest when the world is on fire? How can I rest when people are suffering, when there's so much? You are not a candle meant to burn yourself down to prove you gave light. You are not meant to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Human beings need rest. Without it, we lose our sense of humor and our faith and our hope and our love. We start confusing urgency with importance. We start thinking the world is nothing but a problem because we can't pause long enough to understand the beauty. Rest restores our capacity for love and justice. It's the reason every single airplane you have ever been on tells you, if you're with a child or a dependent person, what are you supposed to do with your air mask? Put it on yourself first, because you can't help anybody if you can't breathe. Sabbath is about remembering to breathe. And Sabbath's not only about sleep, even though sleep is beautiful and holy and probably underappreciated in every civilization that has ever invented an alarm clock. Sabbath rest is deeper than collapsing, because there's a difference between rest and recovery from exhaustion. Sabbath asks us not to wait until collapse. It asks us to build the rest into the rhythm of life. And that can look different for every one of you. For some of you, it will be ritual. It will be lighting candles to welcome the Sabbath. saying prayers, sharing a meal. For others, it may mean just turn off your phone and your computer and go for a walk. For some of you, it will be sitting in a chair with a book, with no plan to improve yourself, just enjoying every trashy word in that novel. Sometimes books can just have dragons and fairies and naked people in them. Sabbath is not leisure. Leisure becomes performance at times. Sabbath isn't a perfect restoration experience with matching linen clothing and beverages. It's about stopping the machinery of proving worth. That's the heart of it. Remembering you're already enough. Your worth is not theoretical. Your dignity includes your tired body and your need to rest. You know, we don't like our limits, but limits aren't failures. They're part of being human. A river without banks is not a river, it's a flood. A life without limits is not devotion, it's just danger. Sabbath gives us the boundaries. And if you say to me, that sounds lovely, but I can't take a whole day. I'm a caregiver. I'm a person with serious obligations that unfortunately can't be moved. That's okay too. You're not failing at Sabbath. Start smaller. Take an hour, or a morning, or a dinner without, or a walk without all the stuff. Maybe it's refusing to schedule anything before noon one day a week, or making Friday evenings sacred, or deciding that after worship you won't go home immediately and punish yourself with chores. You will sit quietly for 15 minutes. You can begin with one holy pause that you protect. Because the world says, oh, how lovely, you're resting. Let me make that easy for you. And say, no. No. Because the world will also say, since you have a little time. We all know life happens and emergencies happen, and sometimes Sabbath doesn't happen because of that. But not everything that feels urgent is sacred, and not every interruption deserves to happen. And sometimes the holiest word is no. We need to be there for each other to help remind each other of that. Because Sabbath is something we give to one another. Sabbath is contagious in the best way. Because when one person learns to rest, it gives others permission. And we may not bow down to golden calves, but we do bow down to busy calendars. It's why Sabbath matters. It's essential because without it, we forget who we are. We start to believe that we are what we do, and we begin to believe we are what others need from us. And then when we can't do as much, we say, I don't know who I am anymore. If I'm not helping, if I'm not being, if I'm not doing everything that you need of me, who am I? I'll tell you who you are. You are beloved just because you're breathing. You are worthy, and that is enough. So here's your invitation for the week. Find one Sabbath moment. It doesn't have to be a whole day. Bless you if it is. Maybe it's an afternoon or 20 minutes or just a cup of coffee. Identify it to yourself. Whatever it is, let it be more than a break from work. Let it be a return to truth, a prayer spoken by your body, because even creation pauses. And when guilt gets up and knocks on the door, don't hand it the keys. Say, thank you for your concern. I am practicing Sabbath now. And when the world says you have to prove your worth, say, no, thank you. My worth was never in question. You need a break. Love needs room and grief needs room. The soul needs room. The great mystery or the deep wisdom meets us not only in the doing but in the stopping. So may we stop. May we rest and remember and help one another remember. And may we live as though our worth and the worth of every being was never something we could possibly fail at. You are worthy. You are loved. And you need a break. Amen. We extinguish this flame, but not the rest it has called us toward. May its warmth remind us that we have permission to pause, to breathe, and to remember that we are enough. May we carry Sabbath gently into the week ahead. Bearing in mind time, we are going to do one verse of this last song. Please rise in body or spirit and join in our closing hymn this week, one verse of number 168, One More Step. One more step, we will take one more step, till there is peace for us and everyone. Take one more step. Go in peace, knowing that your worth is not measured by your work, your usefulness, or your busyness. You are worthy because you are alive. Peace, Ashe, and may it be so. May love surround you with warm, gentle arms. May love surround you and keep you from harm. And may you always continue to grow. May you find happiness wherever you go. May love surround you with warm, gentle arms. May love surround you and keep you from harm. And may you always continue to grow. May you find happiness wherever you go. Amen. Well, we kicked butt on that. That was fun.